Guys, well, it's Monday, and you know what that means. It means we have some news for you. We're going to kick things off with AI making its way into Hollywood. We've got Steve Carrell working with HBO Max, an Office spinoff, kind of, sort of, and Kevin Costner spending the big bucks. Let's go ahead and dig into it, folks. All right, so straight to business, talking about the AI because it's everywhere and we can't escape it. It's inescapable. Because why? Because they hate us and because they want us to live in a Terminator type future where we are just slaves to the robots. So, as it goes. So the news here is that filmmakers launch an AI studio, Late Night Labs, with help from Natasha Lyonne and Angel Manuel Soto. Now, that last little bit is what I actually find pretty interesting because these are industry folks, actors who are actually behind, well, I say actors, actor and director who are behind or on the list of the crew of people kind of getting this thing going with this Late Night Labs. So what it says is a group of filmmakers are launching an AI film and animation studio and has snagged some A-list advisors. So they're going to be advisors for this company, which seems like it is happening with a lot of these AI businesses right now. So it launches off the names of the folks that have launched this AI-based studio, LA-based studio for AI, with Poker Face star Natasha Lyonne and Blue Beetle director Angel Manuel Soto among the advisors. The trio are using generative AI in a creative process, but are hoping that the new technology, which is spelled incorrectly, can also provide artists with tangible ownership with what they create. So if you paid attention to the news last week, and they have it kind of down here as well as a related story, is that Natasha Lyonne was recently cast in the new Fantastic Four movie, and she's been doing other stuff lately, but and being fairly busy in Hollywood. But I mean, this is kind of a weird space for her to be in as far as this whole AI thing. Maybe she's interested in it. I mean, clearly, but I don't know where you guys sit with it, but I'm one of those AI hesitant folks. I think that it can help certain angles of business, but the problem is just once you open that door, can you ever close it? And I think the answer is no. But then on the same hand, is it just completely and totally unavoidable? Because it seems to me like it is. They've started this thing rolling and there's no stopping it. And it's like, oh, we're getting these people on the boards and Musk is, warning everybody, but at the same time running an AI business. So it's just like, what is even happening? Why don't we just say no if we know that it's just going to totally screw everybody? But, some people are for it. Some people are for against it. I'm just going to sit back and watch things burn, I guess. So basically what's going on here is that they want some industry folks involved with this business and kind of its effects on the industry. So it says Late Night Labs slate includes film and television projects with a range of filmmakers, animators, and documentarians, the first of which should debut later this year. There are obviously big changes happening right now in our industry, but we're not talking about replacing people with AI. Just as Pixar didn't replace animators with computers, our shared vision is to use this new technology to provide artists with tangible ownership in what they create. Generative AI is a tool that can be used in the creative process. There's an opportunity to set the stage for the future use. With that in mind, we've developed proprietary AI technologies to give artists unprecedented control over every aspect of their creations. So they keep kind of doubling down on basically being like, we're not trying to take anybody's jobs. We're not trying to screw anybody over. But at the same time, it's like, look, at the end of the day, if people can save money using AI, they're going to save money using AI. And you can say that it's not going to get in their way right now, but it will, because that's just a fact of life. It's just a question of how much and how much you allow it to kind of continue to creep into whatever industry you're injecting AI into, which is basically all of them at this point. So we will see over time as AI just continues to creep forward. But I mean, the thing is that yes, maybe this company, this Late Night Labs, is going to handle things intelligently with AI, but it does not mean that every other company will. And we know that if businesses can cut corners and they can save costs, they're going to do it. That's just how business works. And so who knows? But I do find it very interesting that Natasha is being involved in this, and we'll see if she actually has any real say in what it does to the future of the industry. And I think we're going to see more and more stories about this type of thing as time goes by. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for more AI articles because I want to see what other toes they are stepping on. It sounds like there is more of animation side to this technology, and maybe it's, just being used to, like we said, just save time, where it's like, okay, well, I can create a single frame and then this AI can, expand further with this animated frame and make it do certain things, so it's this is technology. It's going to advance, and there's no stopping it. That's just what AI is. Now, on to a little bit more fun news. It's that HBO has ordered a show with Steve Carell. It's a new comedy series from Bill Lawrence, Matt Tarsis, and Warner Brothers Television. So basically, what it sounds like is this is going to be a half-hour comedy show that's going to be on HBO Max. Right now, they don't have a lot of those, and it sounds like they're kind of trying to fill the gap. Actually, they do mention that later on down in the article, but basically, like Barry, Curb Your Enthusiasm, those type of shows are not airing anymore, and they need to kind of fill out that type of programming within HBO Max. So, I mean, we all know that Steve Carell is perfect in the comedy space and does the half-hour stuff. So it seems like a fairly good fit. And Bill Lawrence did Ted Lasso, so that kind of piques my interest a little bit. And then Matt did the Goldbergs as well. So it sounds like they've got some good comedy folks on here. And I mean, also Bill Lawrence was known for doing Scrubs, so he's done some good shows in the past. Now it says that this untitled comedy is set on a college campus and centers on an author's complicated relationship with his daughter. Now this sounds interesting. Like that's a weird pitch for a show, just about this guy that's, struggling with his daughter's relationship on a college campus. And so I'll need to see more about what this actual plot and this show is actually going to be. They're saying that it's a combination of Steve Carell and Bill Lawrence, promises to be full of great laughs, warmth, and charm. We're thrilled to be the home of this long overdue collaboration. So, I mean, this partnership does make sense, and there isn't a ton of news on it right now, but I think, Bill's worked with other big stars before. He's gotten great results with Ted Lasso, and we will see. I mean, half-hour comedies are struggling lately. Comedy is a very hard field right now due to everything being so politically correct. Now, it seems like maybe we're making a shift a little bit more away from that lately, but we'll see with this show. I mean, Steve used to be more of that kind of edgy comedy, and he's not as much anymore. So this could be a wild card. It could be great, and it might not. But I'm always game for trying one of these types of shows, these half-hour comedies. I love them. It's just that this is not a genre that has been thriving lately, just due to our current political climate and just with trying to make sure that everyone is happy and no one is offended. That's what makes comedy hard. So I don't know if this partnership and these people can start to go back to pushing the envelope or not. We will see what they do with it. But this kind of paired me up for some news that I wasn't able to cover over the past 2 weeks because we've been so busy. And it's that there is an Office not spinoff coming. What they mean by that is initially they were saying that this was going to be a spinoff, but what they're calling it is just a new The Office series. So I don't know if maybe the title is going to be like The Office something else, but it's not going to be a proper spinoff connected to any of these characters, and it's also not going to be a reboot because it's a totally different story. So the series has been picked up at Peacock, and the first plot details are saying that it's going to be to reveal a Midwestern newspaper setting. So that's going to be interesting. I think you could lean into the comedy of the newspaper setting if it's not like serious news and more of just comedic, goofy stuff that's happening in this Midwestern town where not a lot is going on. And that could definitely follow in the same suit and vibe of the previous Office series. And so this is going to be on Peacock. It says, as has been previously reported, the show is not a reboot or a spinoff of The Office, but rather a new mockumentary show with a new cast set in the same universe. For the first time since the show was first revealed to be in the works in late 2023, plot details are now available in the Office logline states. The documentary crew that immortalized Dunder Mifflin's Scranton branch is in search of a new subject when they discover a dying historic Midwestern newspaper and the publisher trying to revive it with volunteer reporters. So it's going to be volunteer reporters working in this company, and or maybe it's that there's the regular employees and then the volunteer people coming in and out. And so they actually also have some cast, which is that Donald Gleason and Sabrina That is a mouthful of a last name, so I'm not even going to give it a go. But Donald Gleason, you know from many things that I've seen him, and he's actually been tiptoeing around into comedy. He did drama for a long time, and he's been messing around in more of the comedy field. So I'm game to see what he can do with this. And obviously, he's going to be doing his American accent because he is European. I think he's Irish, but don't hold me to that one. So, yeah, no one knows exactly who they're going to play, but they are going to be in the show, and production is scheduled for the beginning of July. So, this seems like a fun continuation of this world and kind of this goofy documentary, you know, staging for this type of a show. And so I think it's just going to be another The Office show, and they'll probably tack on some type of name to it as well, because calling it The Office doesn't quite work either. So I'll definitely watch it. I've watched all The Office. It's fantastic. And I think Donald will be a good stand-in for probably this lead role that's kind of a Michael from, The Office. So I'm game to watch it, and it's going to be on Peacock. So let's do it. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is I've been talking about this new film that Kevin Costner has been doing. It's called Horizon. And Horizon, this one is an American Saga Chapter 1. So more has been coming out about this movie, and it is going to be a full series, and they're saying that it could be upwards of 4 movies, and it sounds like that's the plan. Now, one thing I didn't talk about last time is that this is being written and directed by Kevin Costner. Now, one other guy, John Bard, is also writing with Kevin, but he doesn't have any other film writing credits, which I find really interesting. So this is mostly just a Kevin Costner joint. So I had said the other week that I feel like he's really, really trying to bring Westerns back. He's done it with Yellowstone. He has now left Yellowstone, and this is clearly where everything is going. All of his efforts are going to this. Now, what I wanted to mention about this is basically that he is using his own money to fund these films, or at least partially. So currently, he has doled out over 38 million just for this first film, from what I gather. Now, what they're saying is that by the time the first 3 films are done, he will have shelled out $98 million. I can't even wrap my brain around that. As someone who has started and run a business and company, obviously I am not a mega rich person or actor, but it's like even just the cost that are literally nothing. This is like freaking toilet paper for the set of Horizon to build something like Criticless. But I mean, it's crazy to think about this kind of level of investment, and what he's doing is a big deal. And he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's putting things on the line to make this Western series that they're saying is going to be 4 full films. He says that by the time the 4th film is made, he will have crossed $100 million invested into the Horizon series. So I really hope that everybody shows up for these. I hope they are good. A lot of news is coming out right now, actually, because this is being shown in Cannes, and they are saying that he got a 7-minute long standing ovation for the screening of this film when it finished in Cannes. So that sounds pretty good if people are digging this movie that much, and we will be reviewing it. So make sure to come and see what we have to say on it when Horizon actually drops. And the date on that is June 28th. So it'll be as soon as next month we'll be reviewing it. So I'm really excited about it. And I'm excited that we have somebody that's this passionate about something, and he is wanting to basically bankroll this thing, at least partially himself. That is a whole lot of money. I know that it's not all the money to make this thing. There are a lot of big names attached. It seems pretty epic in scale. And so, I mean, but this is definitely a chunk. I'm interested to hear what the full budget is for this movie when it's all said and done with. But it sounds like he's super committed, and I think that that is really admirable. And it sounds like Yellowstone really lit a fire under his butt to go ahead and just bring Westerns back in a big way, and he's doing it. So this is really cool. So congrats, Kevin, on whatever is happening with this movie. And it sounds like it could be a big deal this summer. And I really, really, truly hope it is, and that he can make his money back so that we can see the other 3 films following part 1. One last thing I wanted to touch on super, super quick is that we have a poster for the movie MaXXXine, spelled with 3 X's. If you have not been following this franchise, it has 2 movies that came before it already, which is X, which was the first film starring Mia Goth, which had we've are sitting at 86%, which is the most excellent on Criticless right now. And then we had another one that was set at 84%. So it's also another most excellent. Now I've watched both these. If you can see, I gave Pearl a 61. I didn't think it was quite the thing that everybody else was making it out to be. Very creative horror film, but just not my bag. I think X was a little bit better, but still didn't love it. I would put it probably in the rad range as well. Now, I am actually quite excited about MaXXXine. They are somehow doing it to Terminator, a progressing horror series over multiple time periods, starting in, I believe, the 70s. And yeah, in 79. And so this one's going to be fully in the 80s. It's an 80s movie starring the same character, and it's about Hollywood. So I'm really curious to see if they kind of lampoon Hollywood a little bit. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of murder, and I'm going to watch it regardless, even if I didn't necessarily madly love the other two. I know a lot of people do. So we do have a poster. This is an image of her from Pearl, but yes, we do have a poster, and that's pretty much it. But I think that this movie could be cool, and I really like the 80s setting, obviously. So I'm game for even just that. So we'll see when MaXXXine comes out. We'll probably end up reviewing it, and I don't think that it will be so connected to the other two films that you can't have not seen those. So I'm going to be watching it. But, anyways, guys, I think that is it for today's news. This has been a whole lot of fun. I'm ready to get back to this week and get things rolling. And maybe tomorrow will be an even bigger news day. But hey, I'm always down to talk about AI a little bit. So we will see where that takes the industry. But until tomorrow, guys, it's been real. As always, make sure to go to criticless.com. That is www.criticless.com. And you can find us in the Apple or Android app stores. Just create you an account, come and review some movies, TV shows, join some groups, make some lists. It's a ton of fun. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.